I'm Elizabeth at Literary Princess. If you are new here, welcome. I have a PhD in English literature with a focus on Victorian women novelists, and as you might expect, I love to read. Today I have a video that is for a project created by Paul from the Accidental Bookseller, and this is the My Childhood Books project. So the idea of this was to, the week of Easter, post a video talking about some of your childhood books. Well, I didn't see this until the day after Easter, at which point my videos for that week had already been filmed and edited and uploaded. So I decided to do it a little bit later, but I did want to participate in this because books were such a big part of my childhood. I have talked about quite a few of these on my channel before, particularly in the childhood book tag, which I think I did like 7 months ago, according to YouTube. However, my mom was cat sitting for us this weekend, so I asked her to bring me a few of my books that were at their house, because most of my childhood books, or most of my children's books in general, are still at my parents' house. So I asked her to bring me a few of them. So I do have some new ones to share as well. So let's jump in. I'm gonna start with picture books, which is especially fitting because April is Picture This, a read-along hosted by Shelley Swearingen and Jack from Spread Book Joy, where we read picture books. And the first one is Time for Bed by Mem Fox, illustrated by Jane Dyer. This is like a little bedtime story that my mom read to me a lot. Like this was a very, very common bedtime book. And you know, it's got all these cute little animals. Like, time for bed, little mouse, little mouse. Time for bed, little goose, little goose. So I remember reading this with her so often. And when I was on the phone with her, like trying to round up the books to bring, she was like, oh, Time for Bed. We read this all the time. And yeah, we really did. And it's a really sweet one. And one that I'm really glad we kept. These next two I have showed before, and they are my fairy tales. I have quite a few fairy tales. So this one is the classics Grimm's Fairy Tales. Oh, that I have a bunch of papers in, and I had a bunch of papers in last time we did this too. These are retold by Louise Betts Egan and then illustrated by several people. Erin Wise, Karen Pritchett, Kay Life, Jada Rowland, Arlene Klimushin, Julia Noonan, and Richard Waltz. So I loved these. So I mean, like all the classics, Cinderella. Although I will say, for something that says it's the classics Grimm tale, it's the Perrault version of Cinderella. Little Red Riding Hood. Rapunzel. This witch scared me so much as a child. She's so creepy looking. I also had this Tasha Tudor book of fairy tales that belonged to my mother when she was a child. Given to her for like her 4th birthday by my grandparents, I think. 6. And so this has some of the same ones, like does it have Little Red Riding Hood actually? I have no idea. I know it has Cinderella. But it also has several different ones, including Thumbelina, Jack and the Beanstalk, Sleeping Beauty, and Puss in Boots. I then also had a collection, or I have, like I still physically have it, this collection of Hans Christian Andersen fairy tales, The Little Mermaid and Other Fairy Tales, illustrated by Sven Otto S. And this was actually given to me by my grandparents because they went to Hans Christian Andersen's house. So, Christmas 1998 to Elizabeth. Grampy and I bought this for you at the Hans Christian Andersen home and museum in that's the city name, but I can't read it because my grandmother's handwriting is horrible. Denmark. We love you. Grammy and Grampy, which is very cute. Honestly, I did not read most of these as a child. The only two I think I've read were, hold on, The Little Mermaid, obviously, and The Little Match Seller, or The Little Match Girl, which is the most depressing fairy tale ever. Honestly, most of Hans Christian Andersen's are super depressing. Like, I mean, The Little Mermaid is quite sad too, but I read as an adult one of these other ones called The Story of a Mother. And it like, why would you give that to a child? It's so depressing, but okay, it's all right. For some non-fairy tales, I had Stella Luna by Janelle Cannon. I loved this one, and I had a little Stella Luna stuffed animal that went with it. So I read this one quite a lot, and it kind of started an obsession with bats that I had in elementary school. These are really beautiful illustrations. Look at the way that she does the bat wings. Like, it's just so gorgeous. You then have The Velveteen Rabbit by Marjorie Williams. This edition is illustrated by Robin Officer. And I was talking to my mom on the phone as she was gathering me. She's like, I don't really remember reading this one a lot. I'm like, yeah, because it traumatized me and is the reason that I have trouble throwing out inanimate objects. Again, this is such a depressing one. These are really gorgeous illustrations, though. But, like, come on. What child isn't gonna be traumatized by this book? With the bunny crying. Traumatizing. So yeah, I remember reading it, but not often. And then the last of the picture books I have is like an absolute classic for any child that grew up near Boston, and this is Make Way for Ducklings by Robert McCloskey. And it is the story of a family of ducks living in Boston. And I loved this book. This is such a good one. And the illustrations are so nice. And this was given to me also in the Christmas of '98, or possibly birthday of '98. That's not specified. But my Aunt Pat, who was my grandmother's sister, and she gave me a lot of books growing up. So yeah, I mean, I think every child that lived near Boston had a copy of this. And there are statues of the ducks in the park in Boston that I have seen many times. Yeah, this is a good one. So into like the chapter books, if you will, we've got Peter Pan by J.M. Barrie. I have shown this one before. It was a present also from my Aunt Pat for my birthday in 1999. And this is a really pretty edition. Like, I love the cover, and then it has really nice illustrations, if I can find one that I like. I mean, I like all of them, but I want a good one, like a really good one. Are flying out. And these images were done by Jeannie Wade. So yeah, I love this one. And I talk about it pretty extensively in the childhood book tag. We then have one that I remember my great-grandmother reading to me. This is Little House in the Big Woods by Laura Ingalls Wilder. I'm actually surprised that this is in as good condition as it is, because it is my original copy. and I had this pretty young. And as you will see, some of the other original copies are... So I'm actually only talking about books that I have the original copies of. There are some books that I read as a child and then bought copies as an adult because I had gotten them out of the library, or my copies, you know, were donated and then I regretted that horribly. But I decided to only look at the ones that are actually from my childhood for this video. And yeah, I can't believe the shape this is in. This is great. I mean, it's obviously red, but yeah, no, it's just a really nice memory of my nanny reading it to me. Another one that I've shown off pretty frequently is The Secret Garden by Frances Hodgson Burnett. My brother and my sister-in-law gave me this copy when I was pretty young, probably around 6. This is in rougher condition. As you can see, we have it taped, and the binding is coming apart. A glass of water was spilled on it really early on. So it's actually, and you can actually see some of the water damage on some of the pages. Maybe, I don't know. Can you tell the wrinkles? I don't know. You can see them in real life, but I love this edition either way, and yeah. And then another Frances Hodgson Burnett is A Little Princess, which is actually the namesake for my channel. It is a play on the title A Little Princess, but instead of little, it's literary because I talk about books. This edition is illustrated by Graham Rust. And let me find you a really good one. Yeah, they're really pretty. I love her dresses. Yeah, this is like my all-time favorite children's book in general, which is why my channel's named after it, probably. Another classic, Anne of Green Gables by L.M. Montgomery. I loved Anne. I only read the first book, this one, and then maybe Anne of Avonlea as a kid. The others I did not read until I was an adult, but I did own them. My grandmother bought me the entire box set because like PBS would have it on sale, and it would come up when the TV series was on, the classic TV series. I'll put a picture up here. I have it all on DVD. I just don't want to dig it out. But I loved Anne of Green Gables. And yeah. This is in, I mean, it's in good shape, but like you can see, it's been read pretty frequently. Got Black Beauty by Anna Sewell. This was given to me by my Aunt Pat. My birthday of 2000, so I was 7. And I know I read it, but I don't really remember it. So I should probably reread this, especially since it's like it's a Victorian classic and I would like to remember it. Another one that I've shown off pretty frequently is The Moor Child by Eloise McGraw, and we're getting a little more rough. I read this a lot, and I talked about this pretty extensively in the childhood book tag as well. Then one that is not a children's book, but it is definitely one of my childhood books. And this is Confessions of an Ugly Stepsister by Gregory Maguire. And if you've read any Gregory Maguire, you might be like, oh my god, that is not for children. What? Yeah. So it's a retelling of Cinderella, and I've told this story on the channel before, but I'll tell it again. Yeah, it's a retelling of Cinderella, which was my favorite fairy tale as a kid. And my brother was looking for a Christmas gift for me. And he got this because he's like, it's Cinderella. It was so well meant. It was so well meant. And then my poor mother had to read it to me because I was obsessed, because this cover is awesome. Look at this. Obsessed. So I like insisted that my mother read it to me. And the whole time she's like, you know, maybe we should read something else. I'm like, no, I want to read this, Mom. Like, I loved it. Did I understand it? No. Which is probably a good thing. But like, I named one of my dolls after the Cinderella character, Clara. Like, I loved this. And then I reread it in high school and was like, oh my God, my poor mother. Like, it's not nearly as bad as some of his others, like Wicked. Like, not even close, but still. There was like some pretty, like, not like sexual stuff implied, I guess. And I'm just like, my poor mom. I feel so bad, my poor mom. But I still really love it. It's a great book. Just don't give it to your 8-year-old. And then a much more age-appropriate Cinderella retelling is Ella Enchanted by Gail Carson Levine. One of my favorite fairy tale retellings. Again, you can see it's getting a bit worn here. Read it pretty frequently. Why did it's all that one spot too. I guess because you hold it there. Oh, that's why. Okay. Anyway, I love this book. It's great. These next 4 are kind of what I would call the end of my childhood books because they were ones that I got in middle school. So like kind of right on that verge of childhood into being a teenager. And we've got Inkheart by Cornelia Funk, which has got some bends in it because I think it went to school with me in my backpack a lot. This is a great book. Love it. Following, what is her name? Maggie. And her father is able to read from books and have stuff come out of the books. Or, unfortunately, go into the book. Which, yeah. You can imagine how that might work. This is a whole series. I read the first 2 when I was in middle school and then didn't read the 3rd one until I was an adult. I don't know. But yeah, I definitely read this in middle school. And these next 2 were gifts, again, from my Aunt Pat. We've got The Magician's Nephew and The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe by C.S. Lewis. Technically the first 2 books in the Narnia series, I guess, but really this is the first one and this is the second to last one, and the ordering by the publisher is just wrong, in my opinion. I recently it was a few years ago now, did a whole reread of the Narnia series, and I have a video on it, and it was just so enjoyable. But yeah, so I got these right when the movie of The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe came out. So, I don't know what year that was, but I think I was either in 5th or 6th grade. And then, like, what I would consider my kind of last childhood book, again, is not a children's book. But this is, like, when I tipped from reading children's books to adult books, I would say, and that is Different Seasons by Stephen King, particularly the story The Body, which is the basis for the movie Stand By Me. And it's like so fitting because it's called Different Seasons, the collection, and each novella is like for a season. So we've got spring, summer, and then The Body is the fall from Innocence. And it's like just so fitting that this is like the kind of last childhood book. So this is one of my favorite books ever, and it's very special to me. Every child should read it when they're 12 years old, even though, yes, it's not a children's book, but themes about growing up and coming of age are just so good. So good. And then I have 2 more books that I want to talk about, and I kind of call them the delicates, because they are, they're not in good shape. And this first one is my original copy of Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone by J.K. Rowling. This was my favorite series growing up. I have very complicated feelings about it now, just because of J.K. Rowling herself. And she's just being kind of unpleasant. But I'm not going to talk about all that. But I do. This book was read so much. Look at this poor thing. Oh, it is incredibly beat up to the point where I think I was in college and I bought a new copy. And that's the copy that if I do want to reread it, I reread from that, because this is just too delicate. This was given to me by my grandmother because her friend had bought it because it was like really popular. It was not right when it came out, but it was shortly before, like a year or two before the movie came out. And then I guess my grandmother's friend didn't like it. She was staying with her and then she left it there. And my grandmother was like, "You want this?" I'm like, "Sure." And yeah, and then it, went on to become a phenomenon. But yeah, this is a delicate piece of history. And again, it's that same spot where I guess you hold it open and it just, And then the other delicate is one that I have talked about before as being very delicate, and that's why I don't have it. I was keeping it at my parents' house kind of permanently, but I've decided maybe it's better if it comes here to me. Of course, then it'll have to go through a move eventually, but you need to be gentle with it. This is The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien, and this edition is beat to hell. A page was literally ripped out and taped back in. And this edition was my mother's. And it actually went through my mother, her brother, my uncle, and then both of my brothers before it came to me. So it was pretty beat up when I read it for the first time. So like, not all of this is me. And that ripped page, that was some little toddler that I don't know why, but I was at my grandparents' house in Florida, and like they had this friend come over who had this toddler. It must have been the friend's grandchild. And I was reading this and she freaking ripped the page out. And I was so upset because it's the best chapter. I'd read it before, I think. This was a reread. And it's chapter 5, Riddles in the Dark, where Bilbo meets Gollum. It's like only the best chapter in the entire book and like the most important. And yeah, just rip the page out. I was not happy. I was not happy. My grandmother's like, "Oh, try to be gracious. She's very little." And I'm like, I'm still fairly little. I'm like 8 years old at this point, and you just ripped out the page of my favorite chapter. It was fine. My mom fixed it with tape, but yeah, so this is a very special book, and one that I treat very carefully, and I should probably get like a reading copy of The Hobbit the same way I have for Harry Potter. But the last time I reread this, I actually did read from this copy. And I think probably I'll want to read this copy to my children, just because, like, so it can go through a third generation. But it shouldn't be handled by children anymore. So those are some of my childhood books. Let me know down in the comments, have you read any of these? Did you read them as a kid? Did you read them as an adult? Have you read them to your kids? What were some of your favorite childhood books that you still have with you? Again, to Paul from The Accidental Bookseller for making this project. It's been very fun to look at everybody's childhood books and see what people loved and still have and all of that. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to see more of my bookish content. It has been great chatting with you. I will see you soon. Bye.